Welcome to Macrocode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So today we are going to enhance our application that is running on Blazor. So we have been able to do some of the items on this application. And for those who are new, I'll just quickly take you through some of the enhancements that we have done. So we have been able to create a student form whereby we are able to enhance to actually provide registration number, the first name, the middle name, the last name, the email address, the address, the phone number. Then you're able to select a country and even the gender. Then you can provide the date of birth. Then you can save the data. So these are some of the information that we have. Then you can also able to edit the details of the student. You can change the country. You can even change the date and save the details. So we were able to also add countries. So the countries that you see on our form here is actually coming from this section. So you can be able to add a country here. Then we can say Burundi. Then this is Burundi. When you save, you're able to see the country here. Then you can also update the country details and you can even remove it. Then there's something interesting that we've done, and you can actually do the same. So this is just a simple CRUD. So on our previous video, we indicated that we are going to create some of the codes that we'll be using so that we don't actually create duplicate tables. So for example, we have the gender, the marital status, education level, and salutation. So these codes, we can have a gender. So gender, we can have male and female and others if you want to specify. Then marital status, you can have divorced, married, all those options. So you can actually categorize. This is kind of groupings that we are doing. So we can actually add something like religion. Then we can also add religion here. Then when you save, you are able to see this. And you can as well update. So I think we are still doing some things there. Then when we come to system codes details, you can see we now have male, female, single, married, divorced, and Mr. So all these are kind of now the options for these codes here. So for example, for the salutation, I can actually add Miss. So I'll choose Miss. Then for the system code, I'll now choose the maritos, the salutation. Then when I save, I'm able to see the Miss here. Then I can also do maybe Mrs. Can do Mrs. Then I can also choose salutation and I can save it. For the gender, we have all the options. But now, I think it will be best to have the categories on this other end. So we can actually include something on our system codes. So on how this looks like, if you go to our code, we have the folder for the system codes. This is the folder. We have all these options. And you can actually borrow what we have done on the countries, on the videos that you have done, and see how this is. It's just a simple CRUD. Then we have the system codes and the system code details. You are able to create that. So for our list on the system codes, I want us to add on the system code details, I want us to add the option for the system code so that you're able to categorize and see that this system code. Then here I want us to add the option for the system code. Then we want the description. So, but now this will not be okay until if you come to our system code repository, we need to include here. I think this is included where I think here. So we need to have include. Then you can say x dot system code. So I prefer doing this using a one dot per line rule. So if I just run my app, I should now be able to see the system codes with their respective the system code details with their respective system codes. So if I just go to my system codes, I should be able to see that you can see now I'm able to identify that this is male, and male description here belongs to the gender. These ones belong to the marital status, and this one belongs to the salutation. So for today's video, I want us to enhance this application and actually provide some of the things. And one of the things that I want us to do is I want us to create a list of parents for the students. So the list of parents, the first thing that we need to do is actually to create the model. So if you go to the application, I want us to create a model. So we're creating a class here, and we are going to call this parent. Then for our parent, I want us to capture the details for the students' parents. So I'm going to borrow some of the. You can just proceed. So one is the ID, which is our primary key. Then I am going to capture the string. Then I want us to capture the father. So I want us to capture the father name. So I'll do father name. Then we can do mother name. Mother name. Then we can also do email address. Email address. You can also do, what else can you capture? You can also capture gender. Then you can also capture address. And you can also capture phone number. Phone, can say father phone number. Can also capture mother, or we can do this. I want us to do it a bit. So let's just do first name. First, I want us to do first name. Then you can do middle name. Then I want us to do email address, gender. Then you can do phone number. Then do gender. Then do phone number. Then address. Then what I want us to do is I want to tie this parent to a student. So we'll do here int. Then we'll do student ID. Then we also need to ensure that this is a foreign key relating to connecting us to our student table. So here we'll say student. So this is student. Then here we'll do student. Then for this student, I also want us to identify whether it's a mother or father. So what I want us to do is I'll choose and say parent type ID. Then the option, we are going to get the options from our system code detail. So I want us to get the option from our system code detail. Then we'll call this parent type. So that ensures that this is our foreign key from this table. So these are the details. So we have the parent first name, middle name. Then we can actually do last name. Yeah. Then you can say this is last name. Then once this is done, so once we have done with this, we need to have it on our application DB context. So go to our application DB context. Then you can add here public DB set. Then you can have our parent. Then our table name will be called parents. Ensure it's plural. Then once this is done, the next thing is to add the migration. So we are going to add the migrations. Package NuGet manager. Then I'm going to, let me just clear this. Then To add migration, we use the add migration command. Then we say parent details. So if we press enter, our migration file should be generated if everything is fine. So let's just wait and see if all goes well. So our migration file has been generated, as you can see. So to update the database, we run the update database command. So let's just do that using the update database command. So then press enter. So if this is done, then we should be able to have the parents table in our database. You can see everything works well. So if you go to our database, let me just refresh my database. Then on my tables, I'm expecting to see the parents table. So this is the parents table. So you can see here, I have the first name, middle name, last name, email address, gender, and the rest. But now there's something we missed. So on our gender, on our parents, you can see you said here gender is a string, but we want to get the options from the system code detail. So I'm going to say this is gender ID. Then I'm going to specify that this is getting it from the gender. So this will be gender. Then I'm going to update my, so this should be int. Then I'm going to update my table. So I'll just do NuGet package console manager. Then I need to add migration as well. So I'm going to add migration, then I'll say parent updated details. Then when that works well, everything should be fine. So let's see what our migration. So you can see the only command, the only thing that is being updated is one column. So let me run now the update database command to update our database. So everything goes well. So we now have our parents table. The gender is now a gender ID. And it's actually, if you go to the tables and you check on the keys, the gender is now a foreign key from the system code detail. So once that is done, I want us now to add the forms. So come to our pages. So I want us to add a folder. So let's add a razor. Now let's just add the folder first. So then you can call these parents. Then on this folder, actually we've added it on the wrong, so I'll move it at the top. Yes, so on this parent, I want us to add now on this folder, I want us to add the component. So I'm going to say add parent. So if you do that, we have our parent component, add parent component. So I'm going to reuse the add student razor component and just reuse it here. So I've just copied that and we are going to update with you guys. So this one will say add parent. Then I'm going to say, so let's just check on at the bottom here. So our model will be the parent model that is just created. Then this will be parent object. So let's just say parent object. Then let me just remove this. I can actually also remove this. Or let me just leave it that you'll see. So create parent. So this is so this is our method to create the parent. Then you'll be able to see those details. But now our parent object, this one, is what we are going to use here. So this will be a parent object. Then you are saying create parent. Sorry. Create parent. Then we say add parents. Then we are going to say, so here we are going to use our parent object. These are parent objects. So the first thing is the first name. So we are going to use the first name. So this will be the first name. Yes. So you are going to have this as the first name for the parent. And you are going to say here will be the middle name. And you are going to use that. So you are going to choose this here. You are going to use middle name. Middle name. Then this will be here. Remember, this is our object. Then you are going to have this as middle name. Then when you move down, this will be our last name. This will be our last name. Then you are going to say last name. This should be our parent object. Then email address, you are going to as well use that. Hope it is email address. Yes. So that is it. Then the email address, then the address, our object will be that way. This is the address, then the phone number. So we are going to change the object that you are binding. Hope this is the phone number. Phone. Let's just check. Yes, so it's phone number. So this is what we should be having here. So the next thing is what other thing do we need? We have the first name, middle name, last name, email address, then the gender and the address, then the parent type. So when you come here on the parent, we can copy this. Do you have the address? Yes, we have the address, then the phone number. So the next thing is the gender. So on the gender, we say select gender. Then we specify the object here. We'll say this is the gender ID. So remember, we are using the gender ID. Select gender. Then this will be gender ID. And this will be our object. This should be that way. Then, in fact, we have it here. So I think that will be easier. So I think we have it here. So let me just copy this. And we have it here. So we need to close it. I missed something here. Yeah. So we have the gender. So the gender is we'll just change the gender object. We have it here. Then any other thing, I think that's fine. So the next thing we've actually captured the gender. Yes. So the next thing is to capture the student. So the student. So the student. So when we come to this form here, after selecting the gender, we say student. So we can capture the student. Then on the student, we will be capturing the student ID. So we'll say student ID. Then here here we'll just copy that. Here we'll have the student ID. And here will be the student ID. And we say select student. So I'll show you this loop. So we need to loop the list of students before doing actually anything. Then the next thing is after we've captured the student here, we need to capture the parent type, whether it's mother or father, or guardian. So we'll actually do that. So when you come here, I'm going to, and you can actually add the date of birth. So I'll add this field. So let's just update it here. Then we will add it. So what I want us to also capture is the parent type. So you can say parent type. So the parent type here, you can say here parent type ID. Your parent type ID, parent type ID. So the date of birth. So let's add the field for the date of birth. So if you come to our model, we need to add the date of birth. So we'll just say date. So this will be date, time. Then I'll say this is date of birth. So when you come to our add parent, we now have the date of birth. So we need to populate these options now. We need to pre-populate the options for the gender, the options for the students. You see these options for the gender, the options for the student, and the options for the parent type. So what I want us to do, when you come here, you will see the options for the gender. We already have it here. So the options for the parent type, I want us also to have it. So I'll change that to parent type. Then that options is coming from this table. Then here, instead of saying countries, I'll say parent type. Then I'm going to just reuse these options on initialization. Get the service, then the options should, we can say the code should be parent type. So the next thing that we need to pre-populate as well, so you see here we now have the list of parent type. So I'll just come here and I'll loop through the parent type and say type here. Then my type will be, I want to save the ID, but what the user should see is the name. So I think that is fine. So the next thing that we need to pre-populate is the students. So for the student, on initialize, it should load all the students. So here, I'll also get the list of students. Then I just say here students. Then I just get here students, student. Then I just get here the students. So this is the students. So we need to pre-populate the list and have it on this collection here. Then I'll say the service will be student service, and we are getting all the students. Get all the students, and we should be able to get the students list. So this students list, we should actually bind it now to this option. So we'll have here student. Then our student, we want to display the ID. We want to display the name and actually save the ID. So that is it. So we now have our options pre-populated. So there is something that we need now to do. When creating the parent, we need to have the parent service. So I'm going to create the service here under services. So I mean, not even the service, the repository for the parents. So I'm going to create one. So I'm going to create an interface, then call it I. So I parent repository. Then once we do that, I'm going to, once that is fine, I'm going to reuse some of the methods here. So on this parent. So here, I'm going now to replace this with our parent model. So that is it, that is it, that is it. So just copying and replacing. So once this is done, we need to implement this interface. So we are going to implement the interface. So I'm going to create the parent repository service, implementing our I parent. So I'm going to do that. Then we have our this one. Then we need to do something here. We say parent repository. So we need to implement our I parent repository. Then you can now, if you hover, you can actually say implement interface. Then it will add all the methods here. So we can borrow some things here. So we are going to have our constructor with the application DB context. So we'll have this. Then we can have our constructor here. So for the add parent, you see it is coming now with that. So I'm going to reuse some of the methods that we have here for the, so let me just borrow some. that we had created for the system code. So I'm going to reuse some of them things here. So I'm going to copy and paste because they are kind of similar. Then just change here, we say parents. So we're actually saving the data. Then remember this is a sync. So delete, I'm going to copy this. Then on the parent, I can say this is a delete. Then you can say this is a parents. Then here we'll say it is actually a sync. Then this is parents. I'm reusing this, but I'm sure you can be able to see. Then get all, so that we go faster. So this will give us the list of all the parents. So that is it. So this is get all parents. Then remember this is a sync. Then get by an ID. So I'm getting this data by an ID. So I'm paste there. Then this is parents. Then here we say async. Then update. So this is to update the parents details. Then we can come here and say update. This is parents. Then it's actually saved, and remember to have these as a sync. So we've actually now implemented our interface with this one. So the next thing that I want us to do is on our page, before even going to the page, on our program.cs file, we need for the server. So on our program.cs file, we need to register our service. So we need to register our service that we've just created, the interface and the service implementing it. So here we'll say I parent repository. Then I can say here parent. So parent repository. So that is already registered now. So for the parent page, to navigate, let's change at the top here. We say add parent. So that is our navigation link. So when you come to that, it will take you to that. So we now have our service for the parent, and we need now to add the parent data. But before that, we need to import our repository. So I'm going to inject it here on our imports. Then I'm going to have hi parent repository. Then I'm going to say parent service. Then when I come to my add parent page, I'm going now to use the parent service. I'm going to use the parent service and say add async and ensure I pass my parent object. So I pass the parent object here. So that is it. Then once this is saved, it should navigate back to the list, but we don't have the list. So let's create the list of the parents. So the list table. So I'm going to create the list component. So and say parent list. So I'm going to have the parents list. So then I'll reuse the list for the students. So under the, I'll just paste that. Then here I'll say this is parents list. Then you can say here add parent. So when you click add parent, so we'll choose this to add new parent. The add new parent link will navigate us to the add parent, and the add parent is what we've just changed at the top here. So this will be our root. So when you come here, that is fine. Then we need to get the list of all the parents. So we need to get the list of all the parents. And to do that, we should first register this, declare this, and we say this gives us all the parents. And on initializer, we need to get all the parents. So this is all the parents. Then when you load, it should actually load this. Then this is so let's just remove this. So this should be all parents. So let's just say parents. Then we can clear, then we can reload. But now when you reload the parents, we need to use the parent service that we've just registered, the parent service, and we can actually get all the parents. Then once we can actually say, data instead of this, because we can actually reuse this. So we can just say data, and we can say this is item, so that we can actually reuse it. So once that is fine, we can be able to see now, we can be able to get all the list of parents and add to our all parents collection list. So if we go at the top, we can now loop. We can loop and check if our parents have data. So we can say loading parents. Then we can display the ID, first name, middle name, last name, email, phone number, and we can say student. We can say student, or what do we display? We can actually display student. Yes, and just display students. So then once we display, so here we'll say student, then we can get the name, the first name, but I'll show you how to get the full names. So once that is fine, we can have here the list of parents is not available. But when you click edit, it should take you to the list of edit. But when you delete, we can actually get the delete. I mean, should be the parent service. Then you say delete, and you can pass the ID. Then you can actually load now. After deleting, you can reload the list of parents. So I think so far up to there, we've done much. So what I want us to do is now to preview what you have done. So, but before that, we need to add that link to our navigation pane and navigation menu. So you'll do that under the razor and the components, then layout, then navigation menu. So on our navigation menu, I want us to just below the students, let me just zoom. I want us to add the navigation to the parents list. So here we'll say parents. So I'll just do here parents. Then to navigate to parents, we need to navigate to our parents list. And so this is the navigation link that we indicated. So what we need to do on here, we need to specify that when you click on that link, it should take you to the parents list. So if everything is fine, then we are good to now preview our app. So I'm going to build, then preview and see how it looks like. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. Comment down below in case you have anything that you feel we need to do. So I think there is an issue. So let's just check on our component, add parent component. There is something with that. So on add parent component, we still have something referencing the students because we were copying. So let's see where it is. So this should be save parent. Then is there somewhere we specifying the student? So if we just launch, let's see. There is somewhere we are specifying the student. Let's see, yes, here. So that is it. So if we replace that, let's launch the app and see. We still have some. So there's an issue somewhere. Yes. Yeah. So for the student, we only have the first name. So the parent type should be the description. Yeah? It should be description, and here we should say select parent type. Then for the student, we should actually get the first name, then Yeah, so that's fine. When we launch the app, everything should be fine and you should be able to access the parents navigation link with the list section. Then you should be able to see how to add the parent details. So let's see how our app looks like. So for those who are new to this channel, consider subscribing, like the video, comment down below. So you can see we now have our navigation link for the parents. So if we click parents, it should take us to the parents list. But now we made some changes to our model. So we need to apply those changes. So let's go to our tools, NuGet Package Manager. Then we need to clear. I think we added the date of birth. So parents, so you can say parent date of birth, DOB details. Then press enter. Then our updates, our file should be generated, migration file. Then once this is generated, we can update our database. So we can actually use the commands, then update the database. So let's see. So if everything goes well, then we are good. So let's launch our app now, and we should be able to navigate to the page. So we'll be doing this video until we actually complete this app. So if you click on the parents, you can see the parents list is not available. So if we click add parent, it is now taking us to our list that we just created, add new parent. So, and you can see it has the first name, middle name, last name. I think we have 2 middle names, so we'll check that. Then email address, phone number, gender. You see it is giving us the options for the male and female. Then the students. You can see it is loading the students that we have here. So all our students are actually named James for the first name. So I want us to do some modification. First, let's remove this. Then I want us, instead of displaying just first name, we display the full name here. So how do we do that? Let's go back to our add razor component. Then on our add razor component, I want us to remove this duplicate here. Then let's go to our model for the students. On the model for the students, I want us to add another property here. So instead of saying, I want us to say full name, and this full name is actually a combination of some of the names. So it's a combination of one first name. Sorry. So it'll say first name. Let me just copy here. Then another one is middle name. Sorry. Middle name. Then another one is, sorry. So another name is the last name. So once we do that, our first name, we should now get the full name of the student. So when you go to our razor component here, instead of displaying under the students list here, we can now display the full name. Then on our parents list, instead of displaying the student first name, we can actually do now the full list. Then another thing that you were to do was, I think that's fine. We can now try to add the parent for a particular student, then see how it will work. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, comment down below. We notice some of you guys are watching our videos and you don't subscribe. So if you come to parents and click add, so I'm going to add Paul Kariuki Mwangi. Then I'm going to say the email address is paul@gmail.com. Then I'll just put in some, then the phone number, that is the phone number, then the gender is male. Select the student. So you can now see we have the full name of the student. So I'm going to say James Karanja. Then the parent type, yes, so we have an issue. we don't have the parent type here. So when you go to our code, on the add parent, we specify that we want to get the parent from the system codes, and the code should be the parent type. So to get that data here, we need to go to the system codes first, then add the system code parent type, and we say this will be parent type. Then when we save, we have the parent type here. Then we need to specify the options. So I'm going to add the option will be father. Then you can say this is the father. Then I'm saying this is the parent type. I can save. Then I can add another one. I can say mother. Then mother. Then I specify this is parent type. Then I can also add another one. I can say uncle. So this is uncle. Then I can say this is parent type. So when I save, we now have the options for the parent types. So you can see we have the father, mother, and the uncle. So when you click on the parents, I can now add a parent, Paul Kariuki Mwangi. This is the email address. This is the phone number. Then I can say mail. Students was this one. Then when you click on the parent type, you can see now I have the father, mother, and the uncle. So I'll select father. Then I can have their date of birth. So I'll just do 1990. Then when I save parent, it is taking us to the students list. But when you click on the parents, we have something wrong. Yes. Now that is good. So what we need to do first, when you click on the add parent, we should navigate back to the parents list. So I'm going to change that navigation, come to the add parent, then we should always navigate to the parents list. Then when we add on the parents list, for us to get the parents, the student details here, we should go to our repository for the parent, where we are getting all the parents. Yeah, where is it? Here, where we are getting all the parents, and we should actually include, for us to know the student, we should include the student name. Sorry, I'll just do include. Then I'll just do include. Then I'll just do x. Then I say student. So we should be able to get the details of that student. So let's launch our app and see. But when you go to our database, we should be able to see some data within our parent table. You see, these are the data that we just saved. So the issue was actually displaying. So when you go to our parents, we should now get the list of the parents that we just added. You can see now we have Paul Kariuki Mwangi, email address, and the student name that we just selected. So if we just add another parent, I say Obi, then Kimani Opio, then I can say Obi, then I'll do some addresses here, then phone number, I'll just do random one, then I'll select the gender, select the student for that, and I can select that, then I'll put in the date of birth. Then when I save, it is now doing the correct thing. You can see now Obi, Kimani, Opio, that is it. So I think up to there guys, you've learned a lot, and if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So we are going to pause our video for today up to there. So see you in our next video. Bye.